Okay, let's get random. We're going to learn about randomness and simulators, because once we can do random values, we can use probability and randomness to do simulators. It'll be awesome. Okay, so JavaScript has a math object. So you can go math.random. This math object just stores a bunch of methods related to math. We may have talked about actually during the calculators for data types and input and output, numerical input and stuff. There's math.pi, math.square root, math.cosine and tan, so if you want to do calculations like that. They also have random and floor, which are going to prove useful for us for random numbers. Math.random basically generates a random decimal between 0 and up to 1. So 0 to 0.9999999, whatever. Okay? And then math.floor is useful because it rounds a value down to the nearest integer. And that allows us, if we wanted random integers instead of random decimals, we can use math.floor to round the result of this down to an integer. So I have a couple of examples here. Math.random gives me my 0 to up to 1. If we take math.random and times it by 10, it basically just stretches it out, right? Instead of going from 0 to 1, it'll go from 0 up to 10. Right? So 0 up to 1, 0 up to 10 just by multiplication. And so 0 to 99.999. And then if we wanted an integer, well, we could take that math.random times 10, which gives me 0 to 9.999. And if we floor, right, put this whole thing, floor the result of that calculation, it'll round everything down. So the highest number, 9.999, will floor down to 9. So the highest integer we can get here is 9. And then obviously 2.3 would round down to 2, 0. Blah, blah, blah would round down to 0, 1. Blah, blah would round down to 1. So we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 9. Okay, and then if we wanted to not start at 1, well, we could take what we just did, math.random times 10, and floor it, and that gives us our integer, and we can just add 1. So whatever number we got, we add 1. So if we had 0, it becomes 1, 9 becomes 10, 1 becomes 2, etc. Okay, so combination of math.random, math.floor, and some math, multiplication and addition, allows you to generate various random numbers. And then once you get those random numbers, you can do if statements as well, right? So if random is math.random, between 0 and 1, hey, if it's less than 0.5, heads, else tails. And that's simulating the flip of a coin, right? So it should have a 50-50 chance because the number is between 0 to 1. So half would be less than 0.5. Everything else would be 0.5 to 0.9 repeated. Okay. Anyway, to play around with the random numbers, I wanted to just make a simple program, a simple random number generator program. Okay, and then we'll do another, we'll use a simulator in another lesson. So in my F drive CS10 folder, JS programming, I've created this JS starter template. I'd recommend you guys do the same. Whenever you want to start a new project and you don't have start code, you have to set up everything, right? Your HTML, your CSS, your JavaScript. So I would create something similar to this if you want to. So I'm going to copy and paste it, and I'm just going to call this random number generator. Awesome. And if we open this with code, you should see what the template looks like. Basically, I've got my index.html, basic page structure, links to a style sheet, loads main.js. My style sheet is empty. My main.js is empty. It's just ready. Everything's linked and ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to keep this really simple. Title would be random number generator. We'll copy and paste that and make that the page title as well. And then I will have, what do I want to do? I'll have a button. So let's just have a paragraph with a button in it. And random number. And then maybe we'll have a paragraph down below that we'll put the random number into. So let's add some IDs because we're going to have to add an event listener to this button. So random btn, and then I'll just call this output. Okay, that's where we're going to put our output. All right, and if I wanted to do some really simple styling here, let's just text align, center everything, and maybe that ID output font size, like something big, 60 pixels. Bigger than that, 200 pixels. just a really big random number that'll show up. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Random number generator, my button for random number, and there's my thing where the random number will show up. Okay, it's not beautiful, but that's not the point. We just want to go to our JavaScript and practice random numbers. All right. So let's start off with our event listener. Document.get element by ID, random btn, I think we call it. Add event listener, click random number. Have an event function, function called random number, and away we go. So why don't we, let's just have a variable rand, num is assigned math.random, and then we'll just go document.get element by ID output .inner HTML is assigned rand num. Right, so we just get a random number and then put it in there. Woo, woo, there it is. Okay, so this is my basic math.random, which gives me a random decimal between 0 and 1. Okay, so it'll never become 1 point something, it's always 0 point something. Wonderful. Okay, and then we can see that we could just do that, let's say times 10, like we did in the notes. Right, and now, ooh, 9.1, 1.5. Right, so all those numbers we got before, we're just multiplying by 10. Right, so 0.42 times it by 10 becomes 4.2. Right, so we get random numbers between 0 and up to 10. If we wanted a random integer, we would go math.floor, right, the result of this. So that 0 up to 10 will now get floored, and we should now get a random, the highest I should get is 9, okay, and the lowest I should get is 0. And it looks like that was the case. 0, and let's see if I can get a 9 again. There it is, okay. All right, and then if I wanted to say from 1 to 10, let's go plus 1. Right, so that 0 to 9 now becomes 1 to 10. So 1 should be my lowest, and I should be able, hey, there's my 10. All right, so that's random numbers. Math.random, math.floor, some multiplication, some addition, and you can play around with different things. Let's say, for example, you wanted to do simulate the rolling of a die, right? You have dice. We could times this by 6. Actually, I think this would be good, because math.random times 6 would give me from 0 up to 6, a random decimal from 0 up to 6. Math.floor would give me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I add 1, that would give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So save that. Control S, save. There we go. And now if I hit this, I should get the random 1. There we go, 1 to 6. All right, so that's randomly simulating rolling a dice or a die. Okay. Hopefully, I was going to go here. Hopefully that made sense, right? Math.random, math.floor, multiplication, addition, and I'll do another video where we build a little bit more of a sophisticated simulator and also really practice our if statements, because we need if statements to test that random number. Okay, that's it for random numbers. Take care and see you in the next video.